you ECE leaders out there. This is Dr. Christine Wilson, and I'm coming to you with this week's video blog, my vlog, which is about leadership in the field of early childhood education. You are a very unsupported group of people, but I am here continuing to give you free videos on the topic of leadership. And today's video is appropriately titled Money or Integrity. This is a basic reflection on the ethical behavior of leaders in the early childhood and education field. You know, as leadership roles go, you probably have one of the toughest out there, basically because many of you are considered stewards of public funding. Now, being a steward of public funding is a term that I used many years ago when I worked for an organization, a nonprofit organization. And I heard the term loosely used, and I adopted it and used it as much as I can, mostly because I wanted it to prompt thought processes in my team and the people around me and everyone that I spoke to, including you leaders out there when I came to visit your sites. The lasting impression of being a steward of public funding is the progenitor of moral dilemmas that take place every single year. And right now, this year is absolutely no exception. What we're having ostensibly so far is a huge moral dilemma that's taking shape right now, even in our HeadStart organizations. So let's talk about this thing called money or integrity. First of all, we have to ask ourselves, where do these leaders come from? I tend to think that while people are very much qualified to be leaders, a lot of times they are just having the great opportunity of being in the right place at the right time. And that's pretty much where leadership opportunities stem from, being in the right place at the right time. So let's talk about this concept of opportunity, all right? Because I want to turn it into something that's extremely positive in terms of what you can do as an opportunity in your program as a leader. So we're going to talk about being opportunists today. And more specifically, I'm going to give you 4 tips for building and sustaining ethical behavior in your program every day. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. For now, I want to talk about this perception called opportunity. There's a great book that I would really like to recommend that all of you read. And this book is called Leading with Soul and How Good People Make Tough Choices. It's an excellent read for all of you out there who are in leadership positions. And even if you're not, it's just an excellent read because it makes you think very differently. It can tend to shift the paradigm of thinking that you have about leadership. So for many of you, you find yourself with the opportunity to ensure high quality in your programs. And for a lot of you, those parameters are set forth by your funding source, okay? So these parameters can be viewed in a couple of ways. Now, just keeping it real, I view a lot of these parameters as derivatives that are mostly driven by money. So I'm just going to keep it real that those parameters that are set forth can be viewed as derivatives that are driven by money and justified as that as well. So now, especially with money tightening the way that it is, the moral dilemmas that you face as a leader, really juxtaposing money and integrity, are probably becoming more and more and more of a reality for you on a daily basis. So I think a lot of you are feeling that you're pushed to concede to the bottom line many times. But I want to just give you this one thought, and that is resolving issues or getting things resolved for the sake of your stakeholders and your funding source is never as important as getting it right. So I'm going to give you 4 tips on building and sustaining ethical behavior so that you can always get it right. All right, so here we go. Number 1, it's really good to have a dialogue with your team about any ethical dilemmas that you're having. And when I say team, I mean your leadership team. Why is that? Because number 1, it builds camaraderie, but number 2, the moral and ethical dilemmas that you may be facing as a program are very real. And it's always good for everyone to come around and discuss them and have a dialogue about them. I'm not suggesting right now for this first one that you come up with answers, but I'm just suggesting that your leadership team come together and invite dialogue about the moral and ethical dilemmas that you face as a program. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, if you don't already have a leadership team, it's a very good idea for you to think about having one. So, no man is an island. I would hope that none of you out there, including you family child care centers, for you people that tend to work alone a lot, feel like you are an island out there alone. I highly suggest that your leadership team consists of you, someone who has some other great leadership, decision-making skills. Perhaps you should be finding a mentor. Even when I was coaching for a nonprofit organization, I had a mentor, and I haven't spoke to her in a while. That was Gay McDonald. So hi, Gay McDonald. And it's funny because my office is literally right across the street from UCLA where she works, but I should probably give her a call. So if you don't have one, create a leadership team that's guiding your program for the benefits of the children and the families you serve, all right? So if you don't have a team, get a team, and remember to keep your focus where it ought to be. Okay, number 3, you need to be very open and honest with what your talents are. Leaders should never pretend to be something that they are not. And the main reason why is because eventually and inevitably, it will come out in the wash. And it will come out at the wrong time on top of that. And this is something that we are seeing right now. Is people pretending to be something, or organizations pretending to be something that they are not, at least those leaders at the helm. I could go on and on and on about some leaders that have just resigned from their posts. You can read about it all in the news. You know these leaders who I'm talking about. And boy, if they just had my advice, I wonder where they would be right now. But anyway, definitely hone in on the skills and talents that you do have. It's okay not to be great at everything. You know, that's why you have a leadership team, because you will find that where you leave off, someone else picks up. Okay, number 4, and the last one is, you really should invite moral dilemmas as a Q&A session sometimes. First, we talked about just having a dialogue, but there's also a time and a place to have Q&A sessions. Now, the Q is going to come up, right? But the A should be guided by this one question. What do you think the answer should be? That's a very powerful question to ask. And one of my pet peeves is answering a question with a question, but that one right there I can live with because it's very powerful. And it doesn't suggest that you come up with any answer per se, but it just suggests that you think about what you think it should be. Now here's something else that you should consider. If the answer is I don't know, which is okay, it doesn't mean that you can't still make steps to improvement moving forward. So just realize that I don't know can work, but making steps to move forward is really what you ought to be trying to achieve when you have these Q&A sessions as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this particular vlog. I hope that I have helped you. Remember, it's okay to, keep the ship afloat, but rocking the boat sometimes a little bit for the sake of holding on to the integrity of your program, and also doing what needs to be done to keep the money coming is absolutely fine. All right, so there's always a way to get around everything as long as you're keeping your moral and ethical compass true north. All right, now I have another announcement for you. For those of you who have been asking about my book, The Early Childhood Education Entrepreneur, I have some news for you. As you can see here, there's the beautiful cover to my book, and there was the announcement about my webinar that's coming up, and so I want to talk to you a little bit about that. This is a free webinar, but unfortunately I only have enough space for the first 100 people to sign up, and I'm going to be talking about what the most successful early childhood entrepreneurs do to get income and stay successful. In fact, I have 3 very important points that I want to share with you on that. And I'm very excited about this webinar. It will be coming to you on May 16th, 2014 at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So please pay attention to that if you want to get in on that and you want to get the book. Go to my website. You can go to beyourownececonsultant.biz. So beyourownececonsultant.biz. That's all one word. And that website will talk to you a lot about what you can find during that webinar, and also a little bit more about the book itself if you're interested. I know that I made an announcement that I was completely retired from consulting, and I really am. But the funny thing is once you announce that, things tend to happen. And yesterday I was asked to do some consulting work in Las Vegas, and it's a 1-year contract. So sometimes, these things you can't say no to just because you say you're retired. But I did say yes to that, and that's okay, because I'm very grateful for everyone who, understands that I do great work, and apparently my reputation precedes me even as far as Nevada. So love and respect to all of you. I will see you right here next week with another video on ECE leadership. Have a great, great day.